Tonight is not an ordinary night. You may think it is just another date on the calendar, just another evening like all the others, but heaven does not see it that way, because there are moments in time when the unseen draws near to the seen, when the spiritual brushes against the natural, when doors open that were once shut, and when decisions made in silence echo for generations. Something will happen in your house tonight. Not because the walls are special, not because the roof is holy, but because you are there. Throughout history, the turning points never announce themselves with thunder. They arrive quietly at night. When Egypt slept, something happened in the houses marked by blood. When a shepherd boy lay awake, something happened that would change a nation. When a family gathered in an upper room, something happened that would alter the course of the world. And tonight, the question is not if something will happen. The question is, what kind of house will yours be when it does? Every house carries an atmosphere. Some are filled with noise, but empty of peace. Some are filled with activity, but void of purpose. Some are guarded by locks and alarms, yet wide open in the spirit. And there are houses few, but powerful, where humility dwells, where prayer lingers, where repentance has made room for renewal. Tonight, something will happen in your house. For some, it will be a revealing. Hidden things coming into the light. Patterns finally exposed. Truth knocking where denial once stood guard. For others, it will be a shaking. What cannot last will be disturbed. What was built on fear will tremble. What was sustained by compromise will lose its strength. And for some of those who choose wisely, it will be a visitation. Peace where there was anxiety. Conviction where there was complacency. Hope where there was despair. Do not underestimate what happens in quiet rooms. Do not dismiss the power of a single night. Do not assume tomorrow is promised what tonight is offering, because history teaches us this. Judgment and mercy both pass through houses. Destruction and deliverance both knock on doors. And the difference has never been the date. It has always been the response. Tonight, your house can become an altar or a witness against you, a place of turning or a place of resistance, a beginning or an ending. This is not about fear. It is about readiness. Clear the house. Examine the foundation. Remove what does not belong. Restore what was neglected. Call your heart back from distraction, because something will happen in your house tonight. And when tomorrow comes, you will know, not because the world changed, but because you did. Choose wisely what kind of house you will be. There are nights that carry weight, far beyond the ticking of the clock or the turning of the calendar. To the eyes of the world, tonight may appear ordinary, quiet, unremarkable. But to the spiritual realm, it pulses with potential and purpose. Throughout history, there have been nights when the veil between the seen and unseen thinned, when the invisible currents of destiny brushed against the tangible, when moments in time became turning points for entire families, cities, and nations. This is one of those nights. Tonight is not a coincidence. It is not merely a date that has arrived by chance. There is a significance here that is larger than your comprehension. A moment pregnant with opportunity, warning, and revelation. The night does not ask for permission to influence. It simply moves. And what happens in a house, in a heart, in a soul, can ripple far beyond the walls that contain it. You may not feel it. The air may seem ordinary. The silence unremarkable. Yet there is a weight upon this hour that cannot be ignored. It is a night where choices matter more than they ever have, where the smallest action or decision can determine the trajectory of blessing or consequence. This is why every sound, every thought, every intention matters. There is an urgency that is quiet but undeniable, a pressing that calls attention to what has been neglected, what has been forgotten, what has been left unresolved. The night is a messenger, And its language is subtle. It speaks in stillness, in moments of reflection, in the stirring of conscience. Those who are awake, truly awake in spirit, will hear it. Those who are asleep in distraction will only sense a shift, an unease that passes without understanding. History teaches us that ordinary nights often hide extraordinary events. When the children of Israel faced the angel in the night, it was not because they had done anything spectacular. It was because they were ready, their hearts attentive, their doors prepared. When a humble family in an upper room experienced a visitation that would change the course of history, it was the quiet of the night that became the canvas for the miraculous. And tonight, that same principle holds true. The significance of this night does not lie in what you expect to happen, but in what God or destiny is positioning to unfold in your house. A night can reveal hidden truths, bring shaking to structures built on weak foundations, and offer visitation to those whose hearts are prepared. It is not fear that should guide you, but awareness. Tonight is a test of attentiveness, of spiritual perception, of readiness. What is overlooked, ignored, or dismissed may become the source of difficulty, but what is recognized, purified, and embraced can become the birthplace of transformation. This night calls for reflection, for honesty, for the courage to face what has been neglected within the household and within the soul. The unseen is watching, waiting, moving, and what it encounters will determine the unfolding of what comes next. The ordinary clock ticks, but the extraordinary night stirs. There is significance here that cannot be measured by human standards. There's power in recognizing the weight of the moment, in understanding that what seems small or mundane may carry eternal consequences. Tonight, you are invited to awaken, to open your eyes, to prepare your house and your heart for what is coming. Because this night is more than time. It is opportunity, warning, and promise. And when the dawn arrives, it will be clear which houses, which hearts, and which lives have truly grasped the significance of the night, and which have let it pass unnoticed. The house is more than bricks, more than walls, more than a roof over your head. It is a reflection of the heart, a mirror of the spirit, a canvas upon which the unseen paints its messages. The atmosphere of a house is never neutral. Every word spoken within it, every thought harbored, every habit allowed or rejected leaves a mark. Some houses are filled with noise, yet empty of peace, bustling with activity, yet void of purpose. Others are filled with comfort and material abundance, but lack the presence of truth, wisdom, and discernment. And there are houses, rare but powerful, where humility dwells, where repentance lingers, where prayer and attention to the unseen have made room for the extraordinary. Tonight, what is happening in your house will reflect the condition of your heart, and the response of your heart will shape what transpires within these walls. The house carries an atmosphere that draws either blessing or trouble. It is shaped by the choices made in silence and in secrecy, by the patterns allowed to take root, by the attitudes that dominate the conversations and the priorities that rule the hours. A house that is filled with fear, resentment, or neglect may seem sturdy, but the night has a way of revealing what has been hidden. The foundations of peace and protection are tested in quiet hours. The unseen forces that shape destiny do not need grand entrances. They move quietly, finding the cracks and vulnerabilities in what has been ignored. A house that has walls but no discernment may find itself shaken. A house with locks but no obedience may find its door open to things that were never invited. Yet the opposite is equally true. A house prepared in heart and spirit becomes a sanctuary. Every act of humility, every moment of truth, every choice to pursue peace contributes to an atmosphere that draws life and blessing. In such a house, Even the most ordinary events take on extraordinary meaning. A single word spoken in love can shift the course of generations. A quiet act of faith can become a foothold for protection. A moment of prayer, even unseen by others, can invite divine intervention. Tonight, the house itself will be tested not as a physical structure, but as a reflection of the spiritual realities within it. Understanding this is critical, because what happens in a house is rarely just about the house. It is about the people within it. A home may be filled with possessions, with appearances, with routines, but if the hearts within are divided, restless, or unprepared, the night brings revelation. Hidden truths come to light. Patterns of compromise are exposed. Habits that were tolerated in secrecy now find themselves challenged. The house cannot hide the heart, and the heart cannot hide from the night. Every house has an invitation tonight. It can become a place of awakening or a witness against itself. It can be a point of peace and protection or a stage for trial and testing. The atmosphere is shaped by the spirit of those who dwell there. The choice to cultivate humility, honesty, faith, and readiness determines whether the house will become a haven or a witness. The unseen watches, the night observes, and what the heart allows or resists will ripple through the events that unfold. Do not underestimate the significance of this. To understand the house is to understand the soul within it. To prepare the house is to prepare the heart. To guard the atmosphere is to embrace readiness. Tonight, the condition of the house mirrors the condition of the heart. And the heart's choices will determine the blessing or disturbance that comes through these walls. Every sound, every thought, every action matters. The night waits, ready to reveal what has been hidden and to honor what has been nurtured. Night. Something will happen in your house, and it will manifest in one of three ways: a revealing, a shaking, or a visitation. These are not random occurrences. They are the movements of the unseen, the touch of the divine, the stirrings of a spiritual reality that cannot be ignored. Each of these manifestations carries its own weight, its own meaning, and its own purpose, and they are determined not by chance but by the condition of the heart, the readiness of the spirit, and the choices made in both secrecy and openness. The revealing, the shaking, and the visitation are not punishments nor reward. They are responses to the state of the soul, the house, and the household. The revealing comes first. The night exposes what has been hidden. Secrets long ignored, patterns long repeated, intentions long concealed, all will come into the light. For some, this revelation will be gentle, subtle, almost imperceptible, like a whisper or a flicker of understanding. For others, it will be undeniable, unavoidable, shaking the very foundations of thought and habit. The revealing does not create the truth. It uncovers it. And in this uncovering, there is an opportunity. There's a moment to see, to understand, to confront what has been ignored or denied. The revealing invites awareness, humility, and the courage to face reality. It is a call to repentance, to restoration, to alignment with purpose. It is the first door that opens tonight. And it is a door that leads either to transformation or to regret. The shaking comes next. Some houses will experience disruption, disturbance, and disquiet. What cannot stand in truth and integrity will tremble. Structures built on fear, compromise, or negligence will falter. Relationships, routines, and foundations that have been ignored or mismanaged will feel the pressure of exposure. The shaking is not meant to destroy without reason. It is meant to awaken, to correct, to redirect. The shaking tests endurance and faith. It challenges complacency and calls forth the courage to act. For those who remain steadfast, the shaking becomes a refining fire, a purifier of motives and intentions. For those who resist, it becomes a mirror, reflecting what was allowed to dominate unchecked. In every trembling moment, There is an opportunity to strengthen, to align, and to rise above what threatens to fall. Finally, the visitation. This is the most precious, the most profound, and the most transformative of all. For some, tonight brings a moment of grace, a presence, a blessing that transcends understanding. It is a visitation that restores what has been lost, renews what has been weary, and ignites hope where despair had taken root. It comes to those whose hearts are prepared, whose houses are aligned with humility, faith, and obedience. The visitation is quiet but powerful. It does not announce itself with noise or spectacle, but with a deep sense of peace, clarity, and purpose. It affirms that even amidst revelation and shaking, there's mercy, there's restoration, and there's life. Understand this, whether it is a revealing, a shaking, or a visitation, tonight is not neutral. The events that touch your house are not random. They are invitations, tests, and opportunities. They speak to the condition of the heart and the choices that have been made. They demand attention, response, and awareness. The night is alive with movement. The unseen is active. And the outcome depends on readiness, humility, and discernment. No one can predict the exact form it will take, but one thing is certain: something will happen in your house tonight. What it will be, how it will come, and what it will reveal rests upon the house itself, the hearts within it, and the choices made in response. Be ready, be awake, and be aware. The night has a message, and it will not pass without leaving its mark. Readiness is not a simple concept. It is not merely waiting or hoping for something to happen. Readiness is the alignment of the heart, the mind, and the spirit with truth, with purpose, and with the unseen forces that shape destiny. It is the awareness that what comes tonight is not random, not incidental, but intentional. There's a power moving through this night that cannot be stopped by walls, doors, or distractions. It does not seek approval. It seeks response. And the response you give, the attention you offer, and the choices you make will determine whether what comes is a blessing or a challenge, a visitation or a trial. Readiness is the key that opens the door to favor and closes the door to unnecessary disturbance. Being ready is more than preparation of the physical house. It is the preparation of the inner house, the unseen chambers of the heart, where intentions, fears, and loyalties reside. Readiness requires honesty, the courage to confront what has been neglected or ignored. It requires humility, the willingness to admit mistakes and seek restoration. It demands vigilance, the ability to discern between what is fleeting and what is eternal, between what is harmful and what is life-giving. The night tests these things. It reveals what is weak, what is strong, and what has been fortified by attention, prayer, and intentional alignment. To be unready is to risk being shaken, exposed, or overwhelmed by what the night brings. To be ready is to stand firm, to embrace revelation, and to receive visitation with gratitude and clarity. Readiness also requires awareness of time. The night does not linger forever. Its moments are fleeting, its opportunities temporary. There are actions that must be taken, words that must be spoken, attitudes that must be corrected. There is no space for delay, no room for distraction. To recognize the significance of this moment is to seize it before it passes. Each household has a window, a chance to align, to purify, to prepare. Ignoring this window is not merely a missed opportunity, it is a surrender to force that could have been mitigated or transformed through attentiveness and choice. The night will move forward, and when it passes the house and the heart, within it will carry the consequences of readiness or neglect. The preparation required is often subtle. It is not always dramatic. It is in the quiet prayers spoken when no one is listening, in the honest conversations that have been postponed, in the small acts of faith and obedience that accumulate over time. It is in the clearing away of what is unnecessary, the correcting of what is wrong, and the strengthening of what is true. Readiness transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. It turns a simple house into a sanctuary. It turns anxious hearts into vessels of peace. It turns the uncertainty of the night into an opportunity for clarity, blessing, and transformation. Do not wait for signs or signals. Do not expect fanfare or spectacle. Readiness is silent, subtle, and deliberate. It is a posture of the heart, a state of awareness, and a practice of intention. The night is already moving, already active, already reaching into the unseen chambers of your house. And what it encounters will respond to the readiness or unpreparedness it finds. There is mercy for the ready, instruction for the willing, and correction for the resistant. Tonight will not pause for hesitation. It will reveal, shake, and visit according to the state of readiness it finds. Understand this. Readiness determines outcome. It is not about controlling the night, but about aligning with it. It is not about avoiding the revealing, shaking, or visitation, but about being prepared to respond in a way that transforms each experience into a source of blessing. The house that is ready will stand firm. The heart that is ready will embrace revelation. The spirit that is ready will receive visitation. The night holds power, but readiness unlocks its purpose. Tonight, your house, your heart, and your spirit are called to readiness. And the choices you make in this hour will shape everything that follows. Every house carries responsibility, and every heart within it carries the weight of personal accountability. What happens tonight is not merely a product of chance, nor is it simply the movement of external force. It is the reflection of choices, actions, and intentions that have been cultivated over time. The spiritual realm does not operate in randomness. It responds to what is present in the house and in the hearts of those who dwell there. Personal responsibility is the principle that shapes outcomes, that determines whether revelation becomes transformation, shaking becomes refinement, and visitation becomes blessing. To neglect responsibility is to leave the house vulnerable to exposure, confusion, and unnecessary trial. To embrace it is to become a steward of what is coming, capable of receiving and interpreting the messages that unfold in this pivotal night. Responsibility begins with awareness. To be responsible is to recognize the state of the house, to see what has been allowed to take root, and to confront what has been ignored. It is the courage to face uncomfortable truths, the willingness to acknowledge mistakes, and the humility to make correction where it is required. This is not a task that can be postponed. The night waits for no one. What has been hidden in secrecy or brushed aside in distraction will now demand attention. The books of accountability are open, and the house, along with the hearts it shelters, will respond according to what has been sown. Every decision, every word, every habit contributes to the atmosphere in which tonight's events will unfold. Responsibility also demands action. Awareness without action is incomplete. To know that something will happen is not sufficient. One must actively engage with the house, the heart. Remove what causes division, distraction, or decay. Restore what has been neglected, whether it is a relationship, a duty, or a principle. Speak the words that have been held back. Forgive what has festered and align with what is true. The night tests not just perception but response. Those who take responsibility transform potential trials into opportunities for growth. Those who refuse remain subject to the shaking that brings discomfort and correction. Personal responsibility extends beyond the individual. The choices made within a house affect all who dwell there. A single person's integrity can influence the course of revelation or visitation. A heart aligned with truth can bring peace and clarity to others. Conversely, neglect or resistance can amplify confusion, fear, or disruption. Responsibility requires vigilance not only for oneself, but for the household, environment, and the unseen forces that move in response to what is present. There's a ripple effect. What is cultivated in secrecy and obedience resonates beyond the walls, shaping outcomes in ways unseen but profoundly real. Tonight is a moment that will test responsibility in its fullness. It will challenge the complacent, awaken the distracted, and honor the diligent. It will illuminate what has been hidden and validate what has been nurtured. The night is alive with purpose, and the measure of its impact will correspond to the measure of responsibility embraced. Every household has a choice: to surrender to circumstance or to rise in stewardship, to be passive or proactive, to allow the unseen to dominate or to partner with it in alignment. Ultimately, personal responsibility is the gateway to blessing. It is the bridge that connects readiness with reward, revelation with transformation, and shaking with refinement. The house that takes responsibility for its state, the heart that engages with the truths brought to light, and the spirit that acts with courage and discernment will find that the night brings opportunity rather than fear, restoration rather than loss, and peace rather than disruption. This is the hour to claim accountability, to rise to the call, and to ensure that what happens tonight becomes a foundation for blessing, not a testimony of neglect. That choice determines outcome. Every moment, every decision, every thought carries weight beyond what the eyes can see or the mind can measure. Tonight, as the unseen moves, as revelation stirs, as shaking and visitation make themselves known, the house and the hearts within it will respond according to choice. This is the principle that governs all things. Destiny is not imposed, it is shaped. The night offers no coercion, only opportunity. What happens within your walls, what unfolds in your heart, and what is received or resisted depends entirely on the choices made in the quiet, the deliberate, and the unseen moments. Choice is not passive. It is the defining factor between blessing and burden, between transformation and stagnation, between life and regret. The choices that matter most are often not the dramatic ones, but the subtle, persistent, and consistent. Will you choose humility over pride, obedience over convenience, vigilance over neglect? Will you choose honesty over denial, attention over distraction, alignment over compromise? These choices are not made once but repeatedly, in moments unnoticed by others yet observed by the unseen. The unseen does not overlook what is small, for small choices build into patterns. Patterns form habits, and habits shape destinies. Tonight, the impact of choice will become visible. Every decision you have made leading to this moment is like a seed planted in the soil of your house, your heart, your life. The harvest is coming, and the quality of the harvest will correspond to the quality of your choices. Choice also carries responsibility. To choose is to accept the consequences of what is selected. To ignore the opportunity to choose is itself a choice. One that may leave a house open to exposure, a heart vulnerable to disturbance, and a spirit unprepared for visitation. The night does not negotiate. It simply brings what is due according to the state of readiness and the integrity of choice. The doors are open, the moments are present, and what enters depends on the alignment between decision and action. Choose wisely in thought, speech, and deed. Choose courage over fear, action over passivity, faith over doubt. Each choice is a response to the movement of the unseen, a partnership with destiny, a declaration of authority over what is permitted to enter the house of your life. Furthermore, choice determines identity. The house that chooses to embrace revelation, to accept shaking as refinement, to welcome visitation as blessing becomes a house of purpose. The hearts that choose attentiveness, responsibility, and obedience become vessels of peace, clarity, and transformation. The spirit that chooses alignment over resistance draws favor, protection, and guidance. Conversely, the house that chooses neglect, the heart that chooses distraction, the spirit that chooses rebellion or indifference will experience exposure, unrest, and loss. The night does not create conflict. It simply illuminates the consequences of choice. It offers clarity where there was confusion, consequence where there was compromise, and opportunity where there was attentiveness. Tonight, the power of choice is immediate and personal. It is not theoretical. It is not distant. The events that unfold are not arbitrary. They are invitations to exercise authority, responsibility, and discernment. What you choose in this hour will ripple beyond the night itself, shaping tomorrow, influencing those within your household, and leaving a mark that endures far longer than the hours of darkness. The unseen is watching, the night is active, and the outcome rests in your hands. Understand this: nothing happens without reason, and nothing happens without a response. The night will bring its revealing, its shaking, and its visitation, but the fruit of these events depends entirely on choice. You can choose fear or faith, complacency or courage, resistance or readiness. Every house, every heart, every spirit has this opportunity. Choice is the gateway to destiny, the key to blessing, and the measure by which the night will be remembered. Tonight, choose wisely, and what happens in your house will not simply be an event. It will become a testimony of wisdom, vigilance, and victory.